Hey everyone, welcome back to the JavaScript course. So in this video, we'll be looking into the object properties inside of JavaScript. And if you find this interesting, let's get started right away. So in this video, we'll be exploring about the object properties inside of JavaScript. So inside my VS Code, I've opened up my index.html file, my style.css file, as well as my script.js file. So there is some basic boilerplate code present inside my index file, as you can see, and some basic styling given to the style.css file, and a basic console.log message inside my script file. Okay. So now let's start exploring about the object properties inside of JavaScript. So firstly, let us create a basic object. Okay, so we already know how to create an object inside of JavaScript. So first is we're gonna write the object name. So in this case, I'm gonna take a person object. Okay, I'm gonna give, so essentially an object is a collection of different key value pairs that is present. Okay, so we're gonna initialize some key value pairs inside our person object, and then let's get started. Okay, so firstly we're gonna say first name. It's gonna be John, and we're gonna say last name. Okay, let's keep it Smith. We're gonna write the age attribute as well, 20, and the marks is gonna be 100. Okay, so over here on line number 3 to 8, we have created a person object containing 4 different key value pairs, that is first name, last name, age, and marks. So whatever comes to the left side is basically the key value, the key part, and towards the right is the value for that particular key. Okay, so we'll be looking into basically the object properties that are present. So we're going to say object properties in JavaScript. Okay, so basically object properties in the sense the way we access different kinds of key values based on that particular key for that object. Okay, so the first one is of course by making use of the dot operator. Okay, so that's gonna be object name dot property. Okay, so this is the basic syntax for this. So over here in this case, let's say we want to access the first name, so it's gonna be basically person dot first name. Okay, so the second one is by making use of this the square brackets, so that is gonna be object name. We open up the square brackets and just write our double quotes, and then we just write whatever the key is there for that particular value. Okay, so it's gonna be again property over here. So this is gonna be property. Property, if I can write that correctly. Okay, so now let's look into the syntax. So let's say we want to access the last name over here. So in this case, it's gonna be person. We firstly write the person name, I mean the person or the object name, and after that we open up the square brackets, write in the double quotes, and we want to access, let's say, the last name. So we simply write the last name. Okay, so let's basically look into the console for this. So we're gonna say console.log. We're going to say console.log and try to access the first name. Okay, so we're going to say firstly we're going to write the person name, so it's going to be person dot first name, and then we're going to give, let's say, some space over here. Okay, and then after that we're going to write a plus operator again, and we're going to say person dot last name like this. Okay, so this is going to access, so we have written person dot first name, so basically it's going to go to this person object. It's going to take in the first name, that is John, and it's going to give some space as we're given the space over here, and again person dot last name, it's going to go to the person object, and it's going to access the last name, that is Smith. Okay, so let's save the file. Let's come back to the console. Yeah, so you can see the value being rendered on the console, so that's working absolutely fine. So the next thing we look into is basically the second part, the second function, I mean the second object property, that is by making use of the square brackets. Okay, it's gonna be person. So as soon as I open up the square brackets and write in the double quotes, we are able to see all the keys present. Okay, so let's say we want to access the first name and then given some space. Okay, and then after this we have person dot, okay, person of last name. We're gonna say console.log. We're gonna say person age is okay, so we're gonna say person of age. Okay, so let's save the file. Yeah, so pretty much we're getting person's age is 20. And for the second console.log, by making use of the square brackets, we have got John Smith as the correct output. Okay, so that's the way we define object properties inside of JavaScript. So next we'll be looking into basically the foreign loop to access the values inside of JavaScript object. Okay, so to access the, in our case it's gonna be the person object. Okay, so we're gonna say for a value in person, so it's like the foreign loop. So for x in person, so we are taking for value in person, so we're gonna initialize a result and we are gonna equate it to a empty string at the initial state. Okay, and we are gonna say result is gonna be person of a value. Okay, so person of value in the sense, so for each time the for loop is going to run, so for value in person in the sense, so we're going to get for the first time we're going to get first name, so we're going to equate result equals to person of first name. So basically person of first name should return John in our console. So let's say after this we're going to say console.log of result. Okay, let's write in result like this. Okay, so what is going to happen over here is for the second time after the first name has been taken, we are going to get last name inside our for loop. So we are going to equate result equals to person of last name, and we're going to get a Smith in the console after we have printed Smith. Okay, so pretty much we're going to run the for loop until we reach marks, that is the end of the person object. So after that we just come out of the loop and we can see all the results being printed. Okay, so let's save the file. So you should see all the values coming towards the right part, that is John Smith 20 and then 100. So let's check out our console. Yeah, so there you go, we are getting all the values, that is John Smith 20 and then 100. Okay, so that's the way this thing works. That is basically the foreign loop. So now next is basically adding new properties to the person object. Okay, so in this case is the person object that we're using. So let's say we add another property, that is a person dot salary. Okay, equals to, let's say 10,000 for now. Okay, so after adding the after adding the new property to our person object, we can pretty much, let's check out let's just console.log the object. So if it is added or not, that is this kind of property. So let's save the file and then let's come and check out our console. Yeah, so there you go, it is an object and we have the last value, the last key value pair as the salary, because we just added this new property to the person object. Okay, so similarly like adding a new property, we can even delete object, delete some key value pairs. Okay, so delete some properties from the person object. So we can even delete some properties if we want. So let's say we want to delete the last name. Okay, so we're gonna say delete, just delete person dot last name like this. Okay, so after doing this, let us just console.log the person. So now we should just get pretty much first name, age, marks, and then salary, because we have added it over here, right? So let us save the file once. Let's come back and to the console. So basically, yeah, we have age, first name, marks, and salary. We do not have last name because that has been removed. That has been deleted because we just deleted it over here by making use of the delete keyword and person dot last name. Okay, so now we'll be looking into basically nested objects, nested object properties. Okay, so we're gonna create const student equals to an object. We're gonna say first name as, let's say, hello, and last name as world. Okay, then we're gonna have some value key, and we're gonna provide another object inside of that, and we're gonna provide a marks of 100. Okay, so inside the student object we have three key value pairs, whereas for the third key value, that is for the third key, that is value, it has a nested object, that is we have another key, that is marks, and the value provided is 100. So let's say we want to access this value. So for that, it's gonna be firstly it's gonna be similar to the it's going to be similar as we have done in the previous video itself. So it's going to be student, and we're going to access basically the values first. And so if you access the values, it's just going to give this. So if you want to access the marks, it's going to be dot marks. Okay, so let us just save the file once and pretty much check out our console. It should be 100, right? Yeah, so there you go, we are getting 100 in the console. So that's the way this thing works. I think we have explored about the different object properties in JavaScript and other things as well. So I think that's it about this video. Let's see in the next video then. Thank you for watching.